First of all, these are exciting times to be part of Fort Lauderdale. As mayor, I'm very blessed to be able to help lead a community that wants to see continued growth. We've been blessed with a lot of private investment, not just in terms of residential communities, but also in sporting facilities. We've seen a large number of new development projects in the downtown, a lot of new residential buildings that have been built in our downtown area, creating a vibrant urban experience. But on top of that, a number of people have invested in Fort Lauderdale in sporting facilities. Inter Miami has spent over $180 million building a new soccer stadium, a football field for some local high schools. And in addition to that, the city invested its own money in the new aquatic center. We have a 27-meter dive tower, remarkably new swimming pools, and we have a great ice skating rink here in the center of our city, the Iceplex, built by the Panther organization. And of course, we just opened our 43-court pickleball center here in Snyder Park. So it's exciting for families, for visitors. People come from all over, want to be part of this excitement, and this is the time to be in Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale, being a growth city, I've always looked to invest in its infrastructure. The only way you can maintain and sustain growth is through your infrastructure. For years, unfortunately, we neglected it. And when I first became mayor in 2018, soon after, we saw what the impact of neglected investment was. And we had sewer breaks, we had water pipe breaks, and it was a shame that we were beset with those tragedies, but we have recovered from that, and we've been able to bring the city around, and we have a new mandate to improve all of those facilities. We've spent a lot of money in terms of a new water treatment plant, $666 million in a brand new water treatment plant here in the city. It should be finished by the end of 2026. And we also have all the underground structure that we're continuing to reinvest in, such as stormwater systems in neighborhoods that never had stormwater projects. And we're looking overall approximately $1.6 billion in new infrastructure. When we first looked at the New River crossing, we were talking about whether it should be a bridge or a tunnel, and the county had indicated, well, let's build a bridge, it's cheaper, and the state kind of went along with that. But when we looked at the impact of what a bridge would be in our redevelopment area, it would have a devastating effect on all the new development, the urban experience we're trying to create. We've been trying to do this for over 20 years. And we realized that the best solution, really the long-term solution, both financially and from an aesthetic point of view, is to build a tunnel under the New River. And we've been engaging all kinds of contractors and financial people who've come up with a formula that I think is going to work. And so we're hoping to work forward, working together, try to enlist the assistance of the U.S. Department of Transportation for additional funding. And I think that's the direction we're going to go in, and I think we'll be successful at it. Several years ago, the community agreed to spend $200 million through a bond issue to help improve our parks and recreation facilities, and we're well on our way to seeing a lot of those projects done and completed within the next couple years. But that's all part of an ethos that we have here in Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale is the only South Florida city that achieved the gold level LEED certification, which is very important to us because it shows that outsiders have recognized what the efforts that Fort Lauderdale has accomplished in order to try to make it a more green city. LEED status is really significant because they're objective criteria that are used to determine whether or not certain cities have reached certain milestones, which we did. Getting the gold status is really a great accomplishment. We have converted a lot of our city vehicles to electric vehicles. Like I said earlier, we are building a new water treatment plant to pull out all those nasty things that have made their way into our water system, such as forever chemicals, which we often call PFAS chemicals. These are the kinds of things that help us sustain ourselves as a viable city into the next century. Building those foundations, those building blocks for the next generation and the generation after that, to make sure that Fort Lauderdale isn't just a flash in the pan, but it's a city for the future. So the city of Fort Lauderdale has always felt it necessary to engage the community in all of the decision making, especially the major decisions that we have to make here as a community. So an example of that is our new City Hall. Many people recognize the fact that we needed a new City Hall, and as a result of a flood that we experienced in April of 2023, it devastated our City Hall and we had to take it down. So we brought in the community. We started an infrastructure task force which went out to the communities, went to neighborhood associations, got feedback from each of these neighborhoods to get people's ideas of where should a city hall be, what should it look like, what department should be incorporated in it. And we got a report, and now we're working with that report, and we're going to move forward and getting a new city hall, hopefully start that this year. So when I moved here in 1982, Fort Lauderdale was a fun place, and I think that we will always be able to continue our community as being a fun place and a place where people, everyday people, can feel comfortable and approachable. I think one of the best things we have about our city is our diversity, welcoming people from all walks of life, different faiths, different cultures, and I think that that's important. So moving forward as we grow, we want to continue to ensure that that kind of mentality is part of who we are here in Fort Lauderdale. So, a lot of people thought, well, we were a road stop on the way to Miami or going north to Palm Beach, but now we're a destination, and now we attract people from all over. We have beautiful hotels on the beach. We have a beautiful, vibrant urban experience here in our city, and I think that people are recognizing Fort Lauderdale as a brand unto its own and becoming that destination for people who want to experience the American dream and be able to do it in a way right here in paradise that we've all come to enjoy. What we have found is that the demand for housing here in Fort Lauderdale has really increased over the last few years, especially since COVID. Everyone has realized how you can work in the cloud and live in the sun, and it's really an opportunity for people to come experience the great weather and the great lifestyle that we have here and still be able to carry on your business. So, but that demand has also pushed up the price of housing. And the City of Fort Lauderdale has partnered with multiple developers in bringing affordable housing projects here in our city. Over the last 5 years, we've developed over 1,000 affordable housing units for everyday workers as well as for senior citizens, and we'll continue that trend. In fact, of the 31 cities in Broward County, Fort Lauderdale has built more affordable housing than all the other cities put together. And we realize that's important because people need to live where they work, and people need to want to experience the lifestyle that everyone talks about, and to be able to live within there rather than having to commute there. So we're very much understanding of what's necessary in order to move forward, and we will continue to partner with private investors to make sure that that experience is available for as many people as possible. It's hard to say because we've been able to accomplish so many projects that appeal to different people. But I would say that really the most important project was our infrastructure program. Unless you have strong and sustainable infrastructure, all these other things will never survive. So whether we have a first-class soccer stadium with first-class players like Leo Messi and David Beckham coming to our community, or whether we have elite divers and swimmers coming to our aquatic center, we now have Stanley Cup champions here practicing and living in our backyard. So we have so many different opportunities and elements within our community that it really is very exciting to be here. And so to point to any one thing, I think would not do justice to all the things that we have been able to create here in the last 7 years. And as I look back and look at the things that this commission has been able to do, I think it's a proud legacy that we can not only feel good about, but also know that we've created a pathway for future generations to continue in that same way and to continue to make Fort Lauderdale the greatest city in Florida. Despite all the successes that we've achieved, none of this would be worthwhile unless the communities all agreed that the path that we are following is the path that's best chosen for the community that we now serve. And I think that engaging neighborhood associations, homeowners associations, condo associations, getting the feedback and the input from the people that live here. Of course, we have different opinions that we hear. People come from different experiences. Some people come from small towns and they want to replicate that feeling. Other people come from big cities and they want to continue to enjoy that big city environment. I think Fort Lauderdale provides an opportunity for both people, both types of people, all kinds of people who come to a place to either start a business or start a family and really get to see how living in paradise isn't just about sitting in the sun, but it's also about achievement. Being able to find that success story within yourself and within your family to be able to continue to want to pass on to your next generation a story that you can be proud of and that they can feel good about as they continue with that legacy.